What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode 2 with Sports with Herb. As you guys know, I have another different jersey for the USMNT national team because the roster was officially released for Cupcake. As you can see, I have a little smirk on my face because with the players with the roster that was called, you can see the specific reason why this camp has officially been named or deemed as Camp Cupcake, because some of the selections are just a little bizarre. Some is just other players should have been called in. At one point, I was just like, is Greg Berhalter still having some type of influence in these call-ups? Like, it was just mind-boggling. We're gonna dissect it down. We're gonna go through it, review it, and we're gonna compare it to the last video that I made with some players that I kind of like chose or thought would be called up, and others who didn't, others who I didn't even have like no mention of them and they were actually called in. So first off, welcome back. Blessed day. Let's go ahead and get through it. Again, if you haven't subscribed, go ahead and subscribe, because we're going to be doing a lot more content here. So let's go to our official roster now. The goalies are Zach Steffen, Patrick Schulte, Drake Hallinger, and Matt Freese. I had 3 out of the 4. Never would I imagined that Drake Hallinger would have actually, in 2025, got called up. It is Camp Cupcake, but still. We're going to read off the roster first, and then I'm going to go on ahead and dissect some guys that I would have probably came in instead, and guys from here, so we're going to go through that. The defenders, center backs, they have Tim Ream, which was one that I mentioned, Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, Jalen Neal, and George Campbell. George Campbell, I actually did have written down on my list. I'm a little old school. I actually had like a list here. You can guys see. So let me show you guys that I'm not lying. I had it even in quotations as a possibility. I didn't actually think, but there he is, George Campbell from Montreal. I didn't possibly think he was gonna get called in, but I had him there, so it's kind of like, maybe it was my fault. I don't know. I jinxed it. I don't know, maybe. So, right backs. In 2025, after the 2022 World Cup, Shaq Moore should have been nowhere near the U.S. men's national team. Like, through the A team, I know he won't be, but even this Camp Cupcake, he should not be in there. There should be some other alternatives. Instead, it's just like, why is he still getting called in? And then Dajuan Jones, you can't really say too much about it. I had him also, but he just gives you versatility, left back, right back. But again, yeah, it's just, there's better alternatives. So those are the right backs. Left backs would be John Tolkien. So obviously he still hasn't got a move to Europe yet. The transfer window is still open, so there's hope that he can still make it. And then Maximilian Arfsten, who plays more of a wing back, especially with the system that Columbus Crew plays under Wilfred Nancy. So, I mean, not really too high on him, but it is what it is. It's another new face. For the midfielders, Ben Kramaski, which I thought he was. I didn't know at the time that I made this recording, at the previous recording, that was going to be an under 20 camp. So I think he would have probably been better fit for the under 20s. But I mean, again, that Messi effect, Inter Miami, Argentine, like it's real. Make it make sense, but it is what it is. But I think it would be good for him to see him come in here as well. He'll probably still be in contention for the under 20s with the World Cup later on this year. And then one of the good ones, Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, and this was like a fairly surprise, Emeka Eneli from Real Salt Lake. He's a hard working type midfielder, decent enough dribbles on the ball, strong. Again, there's a reason why they call this Camp Cupcake, so just bear with it. And then the forwards up top, Jesus Ferreira, Brian White, Patrick, I can't really pronounce his last name, but Patrick, I want to say, Agemiyoung, Caden Clark, Brian Gutierrez. Everyone knew that Matko Milovic was going to get caught up, And surprise Indiana Vasilev, who prior was with Inter Miami, and before that he was at Aston Villa. Again, he is one that I had in quotations for St. Louis. Didn't actually mention him, but he's right there. Indiana Vasilev. I mean, a lefty. Obviously, if he was at Aston Villa and England, it might have been for a certain reason. You could probably see he has potential. He's still fairly young, 23 years old, so he was a surprised one. And yeah, I mean, it is what it is. If you really want to go ahead and break it down, go through it, there's probably better alternatives, I guess you can say. But just comparing it from like what I had, obviously I had Zach Steffen, 1, 2, 3 out of the 4. Drake Callender, you could have easily replaced him for, I want to say I had Chris Brady or Roman Celentano. Like, those guys should have been in there instead. Even Zach Steffen. So Zach Steffen and Drake Callender, if you want to replace those two with Chris Brady and Roman Celentano. Like, Roman Celentano and Matt Freese went on this crazy PKs during the playoffs, and they were just going back to back. It was save after save, save, and I feel like those two would have been much more beneficial to bring in instead of Steffen and especially Drake Callender. Like, Drake Callender is very mistake prone. Again, this probably have something to do with Inter Miami Messi effect, but a youngster like Chris Brady probably would have been a much better option for this camp, because you would be able to get to see him firsthand, up close, in training, see the reactions, because it's something completely different when you see them playing from the stands to when you have them up and close, like training, see how they react, how they interact with certain situations, and even on actual game field itself, if you would have got like some reps, some games in. So, I mean, I think could have probably done a better opportunity with this roster, but you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. Walker Zimmerman, Miles Robinson, again, some of the opportunities for the other youngsters probably wouldn't have came in because of the other 20 camp. Like, say, for example, Noah Cobb. I think he's only like 19 years old, so he'll probably most likely be with the under 20s. Then from there really isn't much center back depth, I guess you can say. I'm really trying to think of another center back that you could have probably brought in, and again, there's not much. I mean, maybe Jackson Reagan. Jackson Reagan was one who was left off, who probably should have been on there. Again, Pochettino did mention that he wanted all the help that he can get, or with the MLS teams. Some of them probably they don't have to let them go, so maybe they were just like, no, he might get called up into the A team later on, Jackson Reagan or not. But I think it would have been a good opportunity for him to come in and check it out. But yeah, he just wasn't called in, which is a shock. Like, I would have called him over Walker Zimmerman and Miles Robinson. Like, these guys are just, the rest of their career they're gonna be playing in MLS, and realistically, how many of these guys are gonna actually be on the A team? Like, it's little to none. I mean, that's why it's called Cupcake. Like, it's still shock. Like, Shaq Moore, you could have replaced him with Sporting Kansas City's Jake Davis, or even Cody Baker or Reed Baker Whiting. Those guys are probably going to be with the under 20s. I think Reed Baker Whiting is eligible. Cody Baker, you could have probably brought him into camp. It's like, those are like Greg Berhalter type guys. Like, why? Like, there's no reason they should be here. Even if it's a BC team, there's absolutely no reason that they should be in here. This camp should be based for the future, like for future guys, for depth, I guess you can say, if some guys are injured. But yeah, there's really no reason at all. Again, after that you have Dajon Jones. He's fairly decent, not so bad. And then John Token and Maximilian Arfsten. For the left backs, again, I think John Token would have, if, like I said, he didn't get a move. And Peyton Miller would have probably been good, but he's probably going to be with the under 20s. And from there really isn't any I mean, Sam Bynes from Colorado Rapids, he's played a Gold Cup, but no. Another guy I forgot to mention for the right back. You could probably switch off Dejuan Jones and Shaq Moore, and you could have called up Jake Davis and Reggie Cannon. Reggie Cannon has experience playing in Europe. Like I said in my previous video before that, he was probably the solid number 2 back up to Serginho Dest. And Reggie Connon's a nice player. He's still relatively young as well. He's like only 24, 25. So I think he would have been much better options than Shaq Moore and Dejuan Jones. So yeah, those would be the guys that I would probably replace them with. And then center backs, George Campbell was, I guess, a nice inclusion, a nice surprise. Jalen Neal as well. Because from then on, again, we don't really have much depth from there. Oh, you know what? Nathan Harriel. I'm just forgetting names left and right. I have to reference back to my list right here. But Nathan Harriel, again, maybe didn't get let go with Philadelphia Union, because from sources that I've seen and read, they are having their preseason training in Spain. So it was probably beneficial for them to go over there. But Quinn Sullivan, also another one who's probably going to be with the team over there. But they did let go of Jack McGlynn, which is one player. So maybe they thought maybe letting go of one player instead of all 3 of them. But if they let go of Jack McGlynn, that might mean that there are negotiations for him to leave to Europe. Or they just said, hey, we'll give you one instead of, and that's the only one that we'll give you. Like, you can pick and choose from these players and we'll just give you one. I mean, who knows? There haven't actually been reports on if he's got bids from Europe. So, but I'm happy Jack McGlynn actually did get here, because I think he's a very interesting player for the midfield, especially since he's a lefty and he can swing the ball from all over the field. So he's nice. Again, Emeka Anelli, you could have probably picked up and switched him with Daniel Edelman. If you guys do follow him, I think he did put a post up. He was just like in disbelief. He was in shock that he didn't get a call up. Again, you could take it positive and a negative way, like as him saying, oh, that he put it up onto his Instagram account, so it means that he's actually shows that he was invested, that he wanted to get called up. Or you could take it the negative way and be like, oh, like he's a crybaby or something, and he's just like a sore loser or just not good with that attitude. I mean, again, positive, negative, but I think he would have been a much better option over Emeka Anelli. Or if anything, you could have just not called up Brian White. Like Brian White, his last call up was literally like a year ago for this Camp Cupcake. And he's not the only one. Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, they only have 1 cap each, and it was literally a year ago for this Camp Cupcake, which is crazy because Diego Luna should have actually been called up for some of the other, like maybe like Nations League game. I would have called him up over Haji Wright, especially like in the 4-2-3-1 as a winger type position, just so we can get some run-ins with the first team. But I'm glad they actually accepted this, because after he also didn't get called into the Olympics, and he didn't want to be part of the reserve team either, which again, positive, negatives, whichever outtake you want to look at. It's just he probably thought he deserved to go, which a lot of people decided the same thing, like he should have been there, he could have helped us out a lot, but you know, it's in the past, we got to move towards the future. And then yeah, so instead of Brian Wright, one guy that I think I would switch him with would probably be DC United's Theodore Coutinho-Petro. You youngster, like you really have no reason, no reason to see Brian White. Like he's late in his 20s, didn't have as good as a season this did as he did previous to when he first got his call up to Camp Cupcake. I think a much better option would probably been Theodore Coutinho-Petro, where you could have seen him come up with all these youngsters. You know, they probably want it more. Not to say that Brian White doesn't, but I mean, like in the pecking order, like Brian White is probably like not even in top 10. So again, how we spoke previously, this has to be more towards the future, and I think he would have been a better option. A good one, Patrick Gamion, and then because he's pretty tall, he's lengthy, he's pretty good with his feet, so I think you could give him like a run at a start, as well as Jesus Ferreira. So the crazy thing is that he only has 4 midfielders. Like, I guess you can say. I don't know why they have Diego Luna as a midfielder. I know he's a midfielder, but he's more of an attacking type midfielder role. So if you take out Diego Luna, that's 3 midfielders, really, only, which you could have probably called in some other guy, Daniel Edmond, how we had mentioned. James Sands, before he got that loan move, which is good for him. He's trying it out again. But some other guys that I thought could have probably been on here was Cole Bassett. Like, Cole Bassett had a really good season. And then I'm surprised Georgi Mihailovic didn't get called in. A lot of people have a hit and a miss with him because of how he kind of failed in Europe. But prior to him switching over to Europe, he was with Montreal. He was actually a really good player. Like, he had this different type of playing style to him, a different type of player profile to him. I don't know if he just lost it when he went over there, confidence-wise, or the reason why he came back here. But I think he would have been, an interesting choice to also bring up with Cole Bassett as well, because those two did play pretty nice when they weren't injured. So you could probably switch and make it Nelly with him and Cole Bassett, or just take them off and included those two. Like, let's see here. And then obviously you have Caden Clark, which he, again, kind of like Georgi Mihailovic, came back from Europe. First off was with Minnesota, and then he switched over to Montreal. Once he switched over to Montreal, he did go back to that attacking type midfield position that he was usually used to. So he's probably one that's interesting to go ahead and see, like, what he can bring to the table. So yeah, overall, not necessarily a great roster, but from the guys that you can see here, that would be interesting. Obviously, would probably be Matt Freese, give him a run. John Tolkien, obviously, he hasn't gone in to any European team. Diego Luna, Jack McGlynn, Caden Clark, Brian Gutierrez, and those are probably the guys that you want to go ahead and see get actual shots, like good opportunities, get them a chunk load of minutes. I know there's 2 games, but still, like, they're the youngsters. They're for the future. They're the ones that could possibly make, a next type step either in this season if they stay or they move abroad, which probably be better to move abroad for Tolkien, McGlynn, and Diego Luna. Caden Clark, Brian Gutierrez could probably play another season and then try themselves. But yeah, I think, again, much better options could have been here. So let's see. Yeah, I don't know if I mentioned Brian White in my actual other video, but like I said, there wasn't many options, and he is right there. What do you know? Again, I probably might have jinxed him too. But if that was the case, I probably could have caught up Seba Berhalter, Greg Berhalter's son. So, and all, I think, let's see how many guys that I did write down just to compare and contrast. I'm just curious. So Zach Steffen, there's 1, Patrick Schulte 2, Matt Freese 3, Tim Ream 4. I think I did put Miles Robinson down as well. Yeah, so that's 5. Did I put Dejon Jones? 6, 7, 8. 7 with Jalen Neal, 8 with John Tolkien, 9 with George Campbell. I mean, I did have him in quotation, and as you guys saw. So that's 1. I lost count. 2, 3, 4. Did I have Shaq Moore? Please tell me I did not have Shaq Moore here. Okay. Oh, I did have Shaq Moore, and so you know what? You could probably just throw this. And I did have Walker Zimmerman. Shaq Moore and Walker Zimmerman. Right there. You know what? Maybe I'll just take blame for this, guys. I mean, it was hard though. I put him down just because, like I said in the previous video, I really did try hard to put at least like 1 or 2 players from each team, but I did put them like that because there were guys that I wouldn't have called them personally, like from my humble opinion, but knowing that it's limited, I just had to put him down. Yeah, maybe it was my fault. Who knows? But at least, did I put Drake Challenger down? Please tell me I did not put. I didn't put Drake Challenger. Okay, see, it's not entirely my fault. But I kind of might have jinxed some guys. So let's start again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Wow, 20 out of the 24 guys are actually on this list. And they are as follows. Zach Steffen. I'll just show you guys as proof, I guess you can say. Where is he at? Okay. Let's do this. Okay. Zach Steffen is right there. Patrick Schulte as well. He's highlighted actually. Right there. Matt Freese highlighted as well. Right there. And then we get to Tim Ream. Tim Ream is also highlighted right there. What else do we have? I showed you guys Walker Zimmerman and Shaq Moore because I had them in quotations. Dang, maybe if I wouldn't have actually put them like that, they would have made the list. Who knows? Miles Robinson as well. Let's see, where is he at? Sorry, guys, I'm a little old school. I like to write down things. He's right there. Miles Robinson. I showed you guys Shaq Moore and Dajuan Jones. Jalen Neal, which is no longer part of Galaxy. Kind of sad about that one. They didn't really give him opportunities. But he is highlighted right there. A guy from Galaxy I thought they were actually going to call up from the midfield would have been Edwin Cerrillo. And yeah, I thought he deserved a good call up. I'm kind of surprised now that I'm going through it. He didn't get called up. You see, they only do the bad stuff. John Token. Where is he at? John Token. I did have Daniel Edelman down as well. John Token is highlighted right there. Daniel Edelman is there. So, I mean, it can't be entirely on me, right? And then George Campbell. I showed you guys George Campbell. Ben Kramaski actually highlighted. And I highlighted him. I didn't know there was going to be an under 20. Either way. Diego Luna. Where is he at? Diego Luna right there. The only guy from Real Salt Lake, even though they cut up another guy. Jack McGlynn. You see, I had Jack McGlynn, Quinn Sullivan, and Nathan Herriot all highlighted. Like, come on, guys. You should have given me some justice there. I didn't have Miguel. I did have Jesus Ferreira. Boom. He's right there. Because, I mean, again, Brian White. I didn't highlight him, but he's also on there. I showed you guys previously before. Patrick, I did have him. I actually even I have him highlighted as well. Well, pretty spot on. But then again, it's not that hard to really like get a lot of these guys right because there's not many options. Caden Clark. Please tell me I had Caden Clark highlighted. I didn't, but he is due. I did also put Bryce Duke in there just because a lot at the end of the season they were pretty good together. Brian Gutierrez. I want to say I did have him highlighted. Where is he at? Gerald Fall, yeah. And I did have Chris Brady as well. Brian Gutierrez. There was no point of putting Matko Midget because there's already a lot of reports that he was going to get called up, so that was just a cheap one. And Indiana Vasiliev, like I told you guys. Wow, that was crazy. He's right there. So, I mean, again, guys, it is what it is at the end of the day. Like I said, there was probably some better replacements I would have put in. If it wasn't for the under 20s. I also didn't see Nico Sakidis, which he would probably be with the under 20s. And prior to this, I should have probably looked at when Liga MX was going to start, which is why it limited Cade Caldwell, Zendejas to be called in. And also, there's two other left backs that could possibly, one is like Ralph Orquin. I think he plays with Juarez. He was playing with Club America. And then the other one was Isais. He's also a left back. I want to say he was with Pachuca. I don't know where he is currently, but again, those guys probably wanted to get legged on along with Code Cowell and Zendejas. And Brendan Vasquez just got signed to Austin FC, but Poach just probably like let him resolve that, let him get with the team, let him get incorporated, and we'll see other guys. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is. Like I've said multiple times already, like there's some guys that have brighter futures than others, and it's just up to them now that they got called up to make the most of it. Like, you got your call up. A lot of people have been recognized that you deserved it. Now it's time to put in the work, with Pochettino being flexible on how he has like a certain style, but he wants them to be creative. In the final third, each game that he's played, there's always been like a little bit different. Like prior to this last game, Anthony Robinson was tucking in more. And other games prior, the outside backs were staying out wide. In the previous ones, Joe Scally was coming in to play like a third center back. And then you had the 2 8s and Gianluca Busio and Aiden Morris. So you can see that Poch has that tactical flexibility. And with these youngsters, they should be able to pick it up like quick. I would be hoping for that they would. And they could just show them, what they have, like their style. Can go on ahead and actually like mesh really well with Pochettino's, like just bring that in together and actually put in like a good showing, so we can at least salvage something from this camp. Because again, it was really tough. There was probably better alternatives, like I said. There was guys who I would have called in instead, my personal humble opinion, but you just gotta make do with what you have. In a couple of days, next video, I am gonna like show different lineups, and that will probably be like a shorter video than this one. Show like different lineups, see like what kind of lineups, what kind of players can fit in where, like tactical wise, and like just give my opinion what I like to see. So stay tuned. Again, thank you guys. If you guys haven't subscribed already, there's gonna be a lot more content coming in. Subscribe, and we'll get it together. Any comments or anything that you guys concerns, or any any intakes or stuff like that, make sure to leave them on there. And yeah, have a blessed day, and thank you guys.